Special guest, Sahil Adeem. So one thing we acknowledge that as a Muslim ummah, we're in a very pitiful state
No, this,
economically.
the statement itself is redundant. We're not a Muslim ummah, so we can't use the word as Muslim ummah. We never structured ourselves as ummah. I'm not talking about just nationalism and those post World War II lines drawn on the map by Mr. Churchill from the city.
Just being spiritual is not cutting it out anymore.
Even if you were spiritually
Yeah.
correct.
It's a great honor and pleasure to be hosting a special guest all the way from Pakistan, a famous YouTuber, preacher. When we say preacher, this is a preacher in a slick suit, looking very dapper in front of me today, who is touring the world to help uplift the ummah because he says we are currently in a state of inferiority and he's going to help change our mindsets to raise our game, to raise the game of the whole ummah. I welcome Sahil Adeem. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. Wa alaikum salam.
How are you doing,
Alhamdulillah.
Sahil? Yeah.
Alhamdulillah. How are you doing?
I'm very well, thank you so much. And you're obviously touring, would I say, the world at the moment?
Yeah, practically. Yeah, from
What
Australia to Indonesia to now England and Scotland, and then to Scandinavia, inshallah, and then going to North America.
So what's the message that you are taking? I mean, I've heard the snippets of the various sort of talks that you've done, superior psychology
Yeah,
and changing the mindset, and you're targeting the youth mostly.
that's it. Because you know what, I actually believe that it's easier to not people let be in hospitals than to cure the people who are already in the hospitals. You know what I'm saying?
So what
So-
about the older generation? Have you written
Still
them
in the
off?
hospitals. No, I'm not written now, obviously, because Muslims we have to be hopeful from because there's so much good that lurks within the realms of our own two generations who are still alive, and they made us Muslims. What else how can I be ungrateful to those people who actually helped pave the way of directing people like me into the bigger objective. However, have to call a spade a spade. Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu taqullaha wa qulu qawlan sadida. We got to say it the way it is. So obviously we have a very bigger failure than we have any kind of little success stories going around in isolation in different households in different countries in different cities. And even if they are in isolation, there's not too many to boast about and nothing to show for. The companions of the Prophet ﷺ were in merely 1,000, 2,000, and the age of
Look how
Islam
they
actually
changed
took
the
over.
world.
Yeah, they really, literally the world. It's nothing less than. It's not just the world. They had the impact which lasted for generations, not just their own. So we can't even inspire our own people, let alone think about inspiring the rest of the planet, based on our lack of performance. And being spiritual is just not going to cut it anymore. And that's what I believe. And at best, we are.
So just picking up on that point, so you're saying just being spiritual is not cutting it out anymore.
Even if you were spiritually correct, given the fact that we're assuming that we're spiritually correct as individuals. Because at best, we are a bunch of individuals. This is not a single ummah. We are not trained into a community. We're trained into a household. So you're trained into looking after your wife, mother, father, your kids at best. And we can't even, do that properly because you can see, fractures inside domestic household, siblings fighting with each other over property rights. And I don't know what's going on. Husbands and wives can't even, last in Muslim households for more than a generation.
So one thing we acknowledge that as a Muslim ummah, we're in a very pitiful state
No,
economically.
the statement itself is redundant. We're not a Muslim ummah, so we can't use the word as Muslim ummah. We never structured ourselves as ummah. I'm not talking about just nationalism and those post World War II lines drawn on the map by Mr. Churchill from the city. I'm talking about a way bigger problem. Even if we were in a single caliphate,
Yeah.
we still wouldn't have been an ummah with the way we psychologically train our kids. We train our kids to be protectors and guardians of their own familyhoods, nothing else.
So we're not giving them the bigger picture.
Not at all. The word globe is not even used in the Muslim household, let alone humanity and 7 or 8 billion people to take care of. No, no.
Let's hypothetically speak, we are collectively a Muslim ummah, even though you quite clearly disagree with that. Why are we in such a pitiful state where economically, politically, militarily, spiritually, in a even in a, I mean, you've identified that there is an identity crisis there already. We can't even call ourselves an ummah. But
can't.
why are we in this state then? Where does the finger of blame? Can we point that finger of blame?
Well, as much as I've actually pondered over, and I've written this about this, and I've been doing public speaking and contemplating about my next session, because every time I go into a session, I have to redo my thesis because of the fact that I cannot just be repeating the same thing, or I get a lot of feedback about, or the echoes coming from the audience. What did they not understand, or maybe it was too difficult, or maybe it was too high level. So I have to redo a lot of my thesis. And for that, I have a lot of people. I have an IMS program going on, which has hundreds and thousands of people who just keep on pumping feedback into the system, which improves the content. In other words, I had to rewrite this book more than 100 times.
Really?
Like maybe even more than 500 times. And every time I actually split the whole content into different structures so that I can actually, do something for the teenagers, something for the mothers to make sure that our toddlers go into the right track, and something for the adults who are actually in the game of career and everything. So I'm not just casually saying it for the sake of just saying statements. I'm telling you, there's a lot of, the whole corpus of my work actually goes as deep as understanding the actual root cause of why the whole ummah is split into 2 billion different individuals. And it's not 2 billion different individuals, obviously. It is a split of millions of households. That's what Muslim stature is.
We're really fragmented.
Fragmented into households. So as far as my scope is concerned, as a man, as a moral pillar for, making sure that my dependents go in the right direction. My scope would be limited to the boundaries of the house that I've actually been born into, because my father and my mother are not even going to let me be responsible for the uplift of the moral fiber, and that's the minimum. Okay, that's not even the goal of even my neighborhood. Even as little as my neighborhood is not going to get affected by me.
One thing I've realized, and again, growing up as a Muslim in this country over the years, is we are leading more and more insular lives.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we definitely are. We seem to be more self-centered. We seem to be just thinking. Even living in the West, the mantra is me, me, me. Think about yourself as the number one.
I don't think that's actually. I mean, I want to disagree because of the fact that most Westerners, as far as 600 years ago, the European community was fragmented into households. And before that, it was not the case. When the Bible was in its full flow, the missionary movement was taking care of the planet based on whatever they believed in. Okay, and that book went through Philippines to Chile. Okay, but 600 years, for the last 600 years, I mean, as far as 90s, where the Dutch actually came up with this capitalistic philosophy, and the Victorian rule went through the world, it actually put a lot more deterrence inside our Muslim philosophy as well. So the whole globe right now, but let's just talk about the West since you're talking about the West. The West is not a group of individuals. It too is a group of households. Every white man or every Westerner is also looking out for his family. He's not as self-centered as we make him out to be. He is going to die for his wife or kids. Okay, he's not as self-centered as our minds are portraying. Nor am I, nor are you. We would do anything for our kids. So, but that is now how it is everywhere. So you go across the breadth of the globe, you're not going to see a community behavior from any ethnicity or any geography or any demographic. You're going to see people who are doing it for the sake of making a career for their wives and kids. You're not going to see the American army who's going to go across the world fighting whatever war, whatever president is going to put them into for the sake of America. They're going to be doing it for the career for their wives and kids. And given a choice, they would not do it. You know what I'm saying? Because this is, after all, a risk that they're putting their lives into. So just like that, you and me in England or wherever we are, the first priority is my wife and my kids. And a Muslim justification right now is that they have the first right over me, don't they? But yeah, they do have the first right over you, but not in the case of when there is another life at stake. Then my wife and my kids do not have the
We
first
have
right
a higher
over me.
duty of course.
Yeah, the first right is for the weakest in the community. First right is not for the closest to me. So that's the problem. I see a lot of objections coming towards me from the right and the left. That I'm not talking about Balochistan or Kashmir, and I'm talking about Palestine all the time. And I'm thinking, how are they wrapping their heads around the concept of weighing the magnitude of
what's
Palestine
happening.
versus
I think most people are just sitting there helplessly saying,
Yeah.
what can I do? I'm looking to the governments, I'm looking to the leaders. Why are they not doing anything?
Yeah.
So what are your thoughts on that?
Well, in my country, my chief of army staff, my prime minister, or my president, or my bureaucracy, or my religious clergy is suffering from the same psychological virus that I was, brewed into. And that's the same thing. This guy is also going to look after just his family.
So even on a higher level,
Just the same guys
they're
going around.
operating that same software in their brain. And
Yeah. And by the end of the day, when any leader is going to put himself to sleep every night, he's justifying whatever he's doing where the deeper tenets are coming from the household, the definitive structure of his wife and kids and, his closest. And that's a problem. And I'll give you an example. When Sahil Majid was asked, when the Burmese migration was happening, of why are you shooting at the Muslims in boats on your borders when the Burma problem was going on, and she said, this is not a Bangla problem, this is a Burma problem. I am supposed to take care of Bangladesh, not Burma. And that guy from BBC, he's not a Muslim. He's actually crying right at that time. It's like, are you actually saying this? I mean, you're not just okay with it. You're actually thinking
it
that
out.
this is more of a sense of achievement for you that you're actually doing this to human beings, And she wouldn't even break a sweat. She would put herself to sleep so sound that night that she's just done the right thing. So, and I'm from Pakistan. I can actually see the evil that lurks around the parliament houses and all those House of Lords that we have. But they wouldn't, that little gyroscope that is set when you're a child. That gyroscope is set not just at such a petty level, but also not at. That gyroscope itself is broken as well. It's not just set at the wrong place, but it's not structured well as well. So, unless we can actually establish that concept inside a child, that you're a Muslim and a Muslim is just a unit of a 2 billion people community.
Yeah.
You are nothing if there is no community.
Yeah.
That is the only and the simplest way to define identity to a child. So he's going to look at his school, he's going to start to think that you guys mean everything to me because you are the wall, I'm the brick. And I'm made for you guys. Otherwise, I'm just a brick. I'm not even a weapon. I'm good for nothing if there is no wall. So all of a sudden, the whole disposition changes. But we don't do that. We actually, our mommies and our daddies actually make sure that we do not think on those lines. It's not that it's a casual throwaway of words or maybe, just skipped it. No. We're designing our kids so that he would make sure that he's the hero of the movie if he isolates himself from the community and is only protecting the walls of his own house. And that's the definition of identity. And in all the books he's going to read, all the Quran, all the Seerah he's going to read, he's not going to find that. All of a sudden there's going to be dissonance. And he won't be able to place himself, and his ideal self obviously, into the book of Seerah, into the book of Quran, into the book of Hadith, and he won't be able to place himself into the book of Seerah, into the book of Quran, into the book of Hadith, and he won't be able to place himself into the book of Seerah, into the book of Quran, into the book of Hadith, and he won't be able to place himself into the book of Seerah, into the book of Quran, into the book of Hadith, and he won't be able to place himself into the book of Seerah, into the book of Quran, into the book of Hadith, and he won't be able to place himself into the book of Seerah, into the book of Quran, into the book of Hadith, and he won't be able to place himself into the book of Seerah, into the book of Quran, into the book of Hadith, and he won't be able to place himself into the book of Seerah, into the book of Quran, into the book of Hadith, and he won't be able to place himself into the book of Seerah, into the book of Quran, into the bo Hence, he's never going to go into Syria because he's going to feel like a failure. And nobody, by design, wants to feel like a failure in a movie or a book, and he's going to watch that movie again. That's not how we're designed. So we are stripping that sense of achievement from a Muslim within the actual literature of Islam. He is an actual failure in the original literature of his own divine belief. So that's why you can see Muslims not going into the Quran, because they find themselves as villains subconsciously. And as soon as they find that, they just, alienate themselves from the Quran.
We see over the last many decades, if not centuries, we have been separating this function of our social life, our career, political life, and religion. We've compartmentalized religion, whereas religion was meant to be the epicenter of our life, which dictates all the decisions that we make.
The epicenter and the outer boundary as well.
That's right,
Yeah.
the epicenter which affects and impacts
And
everything
the outer
we do.
boundary. It's at the rim as well. So
Ji,
both
ji,
at the
ji.
same time.
Ji.
They have to be at the same time.
But look at politics now. Whether it's in the UK, how the Christianity has been completely separated into the political realm. In Pakistan, Islam is separated from the political realm because the religious scholars do not have value, nor do the religious laws in the function of the state.
It's not just see, the word politics itself, politics, can or cannot be divorced from Islam in both the scenarios.
But it is.
I know it is. See, it's not as deep. It is still epidermal.
Yeah.
Go deeper and you're going to find the word career somewhere. As soon as you're going to find the word career, and if it's not within the realm of Islam, this boy is never going to do anything for Islam now.
Yeah.
Yeah, see how the deeper belief system, the box of belief, you need to know where the box of belief is. And before that, you please do not get married. And if you're married, do not have babies. So let's just say that you know where the box is. Now you need to know the technique of how to put the right words, which he's going to learn anyway, inevitably. And the most important word right now, because of capitalism, is career. Okay, now if you can put the word career inside the folds of Islam and then put it there carefully, make sure it's penetrated deep inside his mind, and let him prosper into the career. And the whole world is going to come together to help him prosper into the career. His cousins, his friends, his schoolmates, his professors, everyone's going to try and make a career out of this boy. And if that career is rhyming with the word Islam, he's going to make Islam a career.
Yeah.
But as soon as if we don't do that, he's going to go into a career and he'll naturally have to divorce Islam. And it is going to become a spiritual hobby at best. Hence, we can see
ritualistic worship.
There you go. So the current definition of Islam that we give to our kids, you cannot have both at the same time.
Yes.
Okay? So if it is all of Sira, you cannot do anything in the world, which is the problem every mommy and daddy is having for when raising the kids. But if Islam is the career, he will naturally have to make money. وَأَعِدُّ لَهُمْ مَا اسْتَطَعْتُم مِّن قُوَّةٍ. He will naturally have to have a political career. Prophet ﷺ said every Nabi, every Rasul, every Nabi, there is no except Musa alayhi salam and Isa, there are no Rasuls in Bani Israel. So every Nabi in Bani Israel was a politician. One, if he ever died or was killed, the next one was appointed and he used to run for office.
Yeah.
Okay? He has to hold the rule of law in his own hand. So it was a career. Hence, you can see a political acumen in the Jewish community.
Even if you go to the example of the Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was like the president of the Ummah at the time.
Yeah, and so was every companion. They were always involved in the bigger decisions. Masjid al-Nabi was a community center. It was not...
He was like the Houses of Parliament of the time.
There you go. Not just that, but raising kids into decision-making was a norm and a culture of Masjid al-Nabi. Every child was involved into the bigger discussions of whatever, the Muslim decision-making is done for, globally. So the current definition of Islam, in which we have to do just 5 things, Kalma, Namaz, Roza, Zakat, Hajj, we can do even if we have to do nothing else on a moral level, And we can still do that because kalama is just for me. I can do it in my heart. Namaz has absolutely no effect on any human being if I'm praying. Roza is a very personal
Worship.
ibadah. Zakat, I have 2.5% of whatever I have to give somebody. It doesn't really matter whether it gets there or not, even if it gets there.
As long as I discharge
Yeah,
that burden.
I'm done, yeah. And Hajj, if I can, I'm doing it just as a tourist.
Tick box exercise.
Tourist. No, people go there as a tourist, go there, do their thing, and come out.
Take selfies.
And yeah, and it has they don't even make friends there, let alone understand the. That was a town hall. The only religion that has a town hall
Yeah.
is Islam.
Yeah.
You get everybody in, talk about the real problems, talk about the real solutions, and give tasks to everybody based on wherever you came from, and then send them backpacking. No, that's not what happens. The Ummah doesn't even understand in the Hajj of what Imam is saying in the khutbah. They don't understand, nor do they care. Because what they think is, oh, mere to sare guna maaf. I'm done.
Certificate
I'm
mil
clean
gaya.
as a, whistle. And I'm back.
Got that certificate as a Haji.
Yeah, and in Pakistan, people start changing their names. In their sign, Haji Sahil. With the
MashaAllah.
H-A-J-I. It's like, who are you kidding me with this? See, it comes from the household. It comes from that base box. When you were 3, that box is installed when you were 3. So these 5 things can be done by Al Capone. Doing what Al Capone does, being Al Capone. He can still do these 5 things. You know what I'm saying?
I think people forget the fact that namaz is a training ground to
Yeah.
be the perfect ummati outside of the place of worship. Zakat is a training ground to show that you stand up for the oppressed and the weak with your wealth. 2.5% is just the minimum, but we think just 2.5%. They are given.
I know Christians. I know them personally.
Yeah.
Some of them are my teachers in university. 80 percentiles, 100 percentiles, 50 percentiles. You know what that means? All of whatever I'm making, I'm going to give away.
Wow.
You have to understand, these are non-Muslim Christians.
And that's where we need to take a leaf out of their book and implement that in our life.
Well, if you read the Sirah, you'll find out a 50 percentile in Sirah. You'll find out 100 percentile. You'll say Abu Bakr Siddiq, even selling his own house.
Yeah.
That 100 percentile priest that I am talking about, he didn't sell his house. Whatever he's making, because he knows he's made enough. Now he's going to give 100%.
Yeah.
Abu Bakr Siddiq is the guy who actually sold whatever he had.
Yeah.
Okay. Umar Khattab gave half of whatever he had. It's not about income. Okay. It's about whatever you already had.
Yeah.
Didn't have any income anymore. What I'm saying is, the current mental disposition of a Muslim
Yeah.
is corrupted at age 3, and by 11th year, by the way,
He's been
done.
fully brainwashed.
He's done. He is the enemy. I'm sorry.
So what age group are you targeting to be able to get into that brain before it's done?
Both the teenagers directly,
Yeah.
and those toddlers indirectly through their mommies and daddies.
So you have to target the mummy and daddy as
That's
well.
what
then?
I'm doing. Yeah, our parenting workshop is in London on the 23rd.
Yeah.
Okay, and that's the beginning of the whole saga.
Okay.
My public sessions are not for just parents, right? I mean,
Okay.
there's so many kids there and youth there, so I have to draw the whole curve around the whole audience. That's
I think one thing I can see that you're targeting this whole movement at grassroots level because you're on a mission.
Yes,
And you're
yeah.
targeting the grassroots level where you may have missed this generation, but you're trying to get the next generation.
Yeah, I'm a 6-year-old missionary. I'm saying before 6 years, I was not into the mission. I was in teaching, but I was not in the mission. 6
Yeah.
years ago, I told myself that if you have to let them be in the game, that you gotta wear the same jersey on the pitch. You gotta have the same kind of bruises you're telling them to be ready for. So I have never had, and nor do I know anyone who had these kind of problems that I'm going through right now in my own country. There are cases being filed against me. The first time in history of Pakistan.
Censorship.
Oh, that's a small little luxury. I forget about that. The whole assembly, the parliament, came together to write a petition against me. One man, the Sindh Assembly came in and wrote a petition against a guy
Saying what? What was in the petition?
to ban me
Why?
because I'm actually, changing the
Waking
definitions.
people up.
They're changing the definitions, yeah.
Yeah.
The religious clergy is writing and speaking against me. Why are you changing the norms? Everything is hunky-dory. This is what you call hunky and dory? Where is this hunky from? And who called it dory? I mean, where is it? Who's okay with this?
So they're happy to maintain the status quo and
Of
continue to live in their bubble.
40,000 Palestinians dead, and
Yeah.
it is still is hunky and dory.
Yeah. So they're living in a
Imagine
bubble, no doubt.
Yep, and I'm okay with them living in a bubble. They're old folks, they're way older than me, but I'm not okay with me in charge. And every old man is in charge for the young ones. And I am in charge. Every Muslim is in charge for all the kids in the planet. I will be questioned because I have influence now, and it's not by my doing. I mean, there are many people more eloquent than me, they have way more vigor than me, a lot more knowledge than me. But if I have had influence, which I do now, that means I will be questioned for it. So I'm not just going to shy away from this, because I don't expect my own son, my own daughters to shy away from this, nor do I expect any Muslim free man or free woman to shy away from his own duty. And this is a problem that everyone is going to face, is going to have to do the right thing. You're going to be battered, bruised, and bloody. And you better be, because if I see a healthy man with no problems, I'm telling you this right now, you're not on the track of Islam. You got no issues, then something's wrong with you.
That's right.
Because in these times, if you do not have bruises, not just in your body, but your soul, you're not emotionally tortured, then I'm sorry, you're not on the mission of Muhammad bin Abdullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Because if you're doing the right thing amidst the worst times, the worst powers, and they like you somehow, and you're not saying the right thing. You're not on the
You're
same
a people
track.
pleaser,
Yeah.
basically.
I mean, a friend of everybody, not a friend of Islam.
When was that moment of awakening for you when you realized that, hang on, this is a big mission here that I really need to rise up to?
As far as I can go back, I think I was in my teen before, when people started shaking me up. I'm lucky enough to have these kind of teachers, but quite frankly, I was swaying in the swings of this plan until I had my own kids.
Mm-hmm.
And as soon as you have kids, you just can't, there is no other choice. There is no other choice. And alhamdulillah, my second was also a daughter. And as soon as you have daughters, you generate this weird
More anxiety about the future.
And the empathy. A daughter brings so much empathy in a man that you can actually empathize with whatever. You get another sense, another radar inside you. So I as far as I can do the math on my own timeline, I think this is where my seriousness took over, and I literally threw away a job and a career which I was doing really well in, and I opened my own setup, went totally free of cost, everything. Please, let's get these things started. And
Are you still running that model?
Well, more or less, but I couldn't just start, because I learned it the hard way that people are not going to value anything if it's free. They just don't. It's human psychology.
True,
and I
true.
should have known better. But still, most of whatever I'm doing is free, and I don't charge for my tours here and there, wherever I go. I don't charge anything. However, I know where I have to put some premium on some services and some content, and where I can't.
Mm-hmm.
A general mass in Pakistan can't even afford certain things, so I can't just be like, because of your lack of seriousness, I have to, punish you for it. I can't do that. But 90% of whatever I'm doing, more than that actually, other than some grades of content there where I know I require certain kind of IQ, and if I put a zero premium there, it's not gonna get that kind of effect. So we do that calculation really well. And I've got a big team, alhamdulillah. I'm talking about thousands of people.
Are you seeing the fruits of that labor? Are you making an
Oh
impact?
my God, alhamdulillah. I didn't think I was going to see. I swear to God. I'm telling you this right now. In the first 5 years.
Give us an example.
Last year,
Yeah.
since last year,
Mhm.
this Palestine thing. And because I was in Melbourne at that time. I was in Melbourne when October 7th happened. And I was in Melbourne, and when this happened, all of a sudden threw away the content. It was a totally different tour. I was in Australia for a tour. I redid the whole content around Palestine, started doing podcasts, started doing interviews, started doing the public sessions. I mean, literally from scratch. I had, because it was
So overnight you changed your content.
like literally in a matter of hours before a camera. I was due to speak in camera.
So what were you originally going to speak on, and what did
Parenting techniques, how to raise Muslims into
Okay.
it's more like
so how did the Palestine issue change that drastically? What,
drastically. Then I put Palestine in the center, drew the whole root cause, tried to make people understand how they can contribute towards real things, not boycotting or
I was going to ask about that. I mean,
Yeah.
that seems to me like a little
Placebo,
bit
it's
of
a
a diversionary tactic in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
sense
yeah,
that
yeah.
it's not going to have the same impact.
Not same. The word "same" shouldn't even be said here. It's not going to have any significant impact.
Yeah.
That's the word. I'm not saying don't boycott.
Do
it.
boycott, yes.
Yeah. For God's sake.
But don't be fooled by thinking that.
Don't think this is the thing that you're supposed. You'll be questioned for way more.
Yeah.
Way more. Because boycotting is for people who are on wheelchairs, people who are too old to do anything. Able-bodied men and women, for God's sakes, you're not supposed to. And I'm against protesting as well. This gives this false, delusional.
That we are doing something effective.
I did my part. No, you didn't do your part. You didn't even do anything. You protested. Protest is when, when a person in the right place with the right belief system is not doing enough. Protest is to wake and shake him up.
Yeah.
Wrong people in the right places with the wrong belief system, you don't protest with them, you do politics against them.
So I'm a layman, and I'm thinking, I'm going to go out, I'm going to protest, join all these people protesting outside Parliament Square. So obviously we know now it's not having an impact. The war is still going on. There's no ceasefire being called. So what's your advice to that person? वो क्या करना चाहिए उनको? What should they be doing? Instead, especially as you said, the one who's intellectually, physically, in the prime of their life.
Yeah. Well, there's only one way to make a bigger change. Okay?
Yeah.
And we need a bigger change. And it is not rocket science, it's just common sense. That all Muslims, especially in England, America, France, Germany, wherever, they are in wherever they have an interface where they can actually see it, whatever's going on. In Pakistan or India, well, I don't know about India, but Pakistan or the North Africa or Middle East, they can't even see what's going on because, a Muslim majority land, they can only see on TV or whatever the government is doing.
Mm.
In England, you literally see the other side of the
Because
picture.
of social media.
Yeah, no, well, England is actually fighting against Palestine. Arabia is not. They're just quiet.
Mm-hmm.
They're letting English
happen,
fight.
yeah.
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 So it's a totally different ball game. It's a different psychology. It's a different interface. So I personally believe that Muslims in England have to have a platform where they're connected with Muslims in America, like the Yellow Pages, literally like the Yellow Pages. But Yellow Pages, they're individuals. I'm talking about platform where the people with influence are connected with, from England, are connected with people of influence in America. People who have political say are connected with people in America or France and Germany. People who have business leadership with money are connected with people who have business equity in America, Canada, France, Germany. Unless they come together, and I'm just not talking about a big number here. I'm talking about 20, 30,000 people only around the world, okay? But countries that actually matter, not countries like Pakistan. The biggest business leader is not going to count for much compared to somebody who's not doing that well even in England. So this kind of connection is the lobby that we need. This kind of political connection.
Just like APAC,
Yeah, there you go. I call it the blockchain. So even if there are thousands of people coming together, all of a sudden we call the shots in so many things. And every Donald Trump knows that. Every Rishi Sunak knows that, and I don't know the name of the new one, okay? And every Barack Obama knows that. Every Justin Trudeau knows that. That's a formidable power. And I'm not even saying, you know what, just solve the issue of Palestine. That's the least of what this lobby can do. This lobby can actually call the shots on so many other things.
So
But
what you've just explained there, that's exactly what the current Jewish Zionist lobby have done.
not just
Maybe they
them,
planned that 100 years ago.
140 to be exact,
Yeah.
in the sewage system of Germany. They were forced to live in the sewage system.
Yeah.
Only Thursdays they could come out and do their groceries, and
Yeah.
then sent back on Thursday evenings.
Yeah.
They were planning. You know what they were saying to their kids?
What?
Next year in Jerusalem. Everybody said that to everybody. Next year
To
in
keep their
Jerusalem.
hope alive, huh?
To get the vision straight
Yeah.
and simple.
Amazing.
That's how a community is made. But
Yeah.
everybody is saying the same thing, and it is achievable and realistic. And at that time, I swear to God, it did not seem realistic to them. How
Yeah.
could they be in Jerusalem when they're in the sewage system under the streets in Germany?
So how do they do it?
That's how anybody has done it. You get the right people connected. Right people means morally correct, politically sound, mentally high on IQ, and financially independent. 4 capitals. You need a directory of these 4 capitals of people who are doing it in Melbourne, Sydney, New York, California, British Columbia, Ontario, and major cities in England.
So look how they've done it from the sewage system in Germany, but we at a much higher level at
Way
the
higher,
moment.
way
Way
But
higher.
psychologically, we are the most inferior place. They were never at psychologically inferior spot.
Even when they were living in the
Even
countries.
they were, because they were forced into it. Socially, they were
So
the lowest.
mindset was so
Yeah,
powerful.
because they were taking it from the Torah. We are not taking it from the Quran. That's why I keep saying that they are still the same Jews from the Quran. We are not the same Muslims from the Quran.
Where have we gone wrong?
We have gone wrong because we have isolated our kids from the Muslim community and put them into a sphere of their own familyhoods. And that's it. Just the definition, mere definition, one line.
See, you're talking more like a small microcosm of the household. But let's take this up to a bigger level of government level, right? There's
Governments,
50 plus Muslim countries in the world.
No, there are no 50 countries in the world. No, don't say that. See, that's the perception. Everybody, every Muslim, whoever's going to listen to this, there are no 57 Muslim countries in the world. No,
50 plus so-called...
No, they're not. I'm sorry.
Okay,
They
why
don't
do you
even
disagree?
live up to the definition of any country.
Okay, that's a separate conversation, but okay, I
No,
get
but,
that. I get that.
but we need to get the concept and psychology straight of the boy and the girl who's listening who's an 18 or 20-year-old.
Yeah,
Every Muslim country is either a state of America
yeah.
or a colony of England. Still,
Colony of?
England.
Okay.
Either a state of America or the colony. Some states in America are way more independent inside America, of America, than Pakistan.
So was Pakistan a state of
America.
or
Well, it swindles between America and China, but more America.
right?
The word sovereignty does not hold any meaning. God forbid if somebody reads the word in the dictionary, he's going to go into a psychological disorder. Because everybody needs it, right? I mean, as a human being, I need it. Every free man needs it, regardless of whether he's a Muslim or not.
So we're all under a delusion that we've got all these Muslim countries.
And that's my job and your job to break that delusion and start from the base that, we have to admit that the stick is broken. Unless we admit it, we're not going to fix it.
Is there any country in the world that you would say that's remotely close to even resembling a Muslim nation?
Right now, no, not by far. Not even close.
Must be somebody you admire or think that. Okay, out of all these, there's one closest to the.
Within the countries, there are groups who actually try. Okay, and even Yemen, they're trying. In Pakistan, there's certain groups who are trying to get identity in. They're doing it so wrong; they're not going to be able to do it. And
They're doing it. They're trying to achieve it in the wrong way.
yeah, because they're not hitting the base definitions.
Okay.
They're using the current definitions and trying to create an emotional spin out of it. It doesn't work. Unless it's erected ground up, it's not going to last. That's why you do not see any success stories coming out of Pakistan in the name of religion. Okay, because
For a long time to come.
it's never going to come unless they change the definitions. Okay, Prophet ﷺ, he started from ground up. Okay, literally from ground up, because he worked on the definitions first. It took him 10 years to make a group, and even in Medina, in the Bayt Uqba, the Bayt Uqba, the second Bayt of Uqba, he asked for certain things. All of those certain things are political. He asked for politics. Unless you give me politics, I'm not coming in. Yes. No Muslim country is developing their diaspora. Pakistan government is not developing the overseas Pakistanis into politics. It is that simple.
The only connection they have with them is he keeps sending us the money.
Money. That's it. And that to charity.
And even then, you need a visa to enter back into your own so-called country of origin.
Yeah.
But again, that's a
and
separate
that too,
conversation.
they look at it. The whole. Yeah, well, let's not go into that detail. But no Pakistani government is enforcing their Muslim or their countrymen to develop the country through political realms. There are no power corridors of Pakistan outside Pakistan. For Pakistan. There are power corridors against Pakistan, but not for Pakistan.
You see, it's also a great indictment on Pakistan, as you know, Pakistan yourself, and so am I, that there's a big brain drain happening in Pakistan.
I'm okay with that.
You okay with that?
Oh, I'm so okay with that. You know why? Because
Why?
if that brain was in Pakistan,
Yeah.
they wouldn't have had that kind of IQ anyway.
Yeah.
They became a brain after their daddies came to England and they were born here, and that's when they were raised into some IQ. In Pakistan, you can't even ask a Pakistani to draw Palestine on the map. Okay, so let's admit that we have a even if there were any brain, it was drained out a few generations ago. Okay, now kids are born Pakistanis in New York. They're still Pakistanis in London, in Birmingham, in Newcastle, in Irvine, in Houston. They're Pakistanis, way more Pakistanis than Pakistanis inside Pakistan because inevitable circumstances. Now, America developed them into a certain political acumen, a certain financial acumen. America did that. Victoria did that to all English. She did the grunt work, and now every Englishman is getting the dividends, right? Muslim or not. Now, this has to be utilized. Thank God for whatever brain there was to make it outside and develop, and even if I don't want to use the word blossom, but they are doing way better than if they were in Pakistan, right? Now I need that muscle.
With the diaspora outside of Pakistan.
Yeah. Now they have some muscle, but if they combine outside the country, that's real muscle. We are still in Pakistan. I'm not talking about all Muslims here. In Pakistan, just Pakistanis coming together is 3 times more than all Jewish people coming in Israel.
Yeah.
3 times. I'm just talking about overseas Pakistanis, not talking about 250 million of Pakistan. I'm just doing the numbers on Pakistanis outside Pakistan is 3 times more than Israelis living inside Israel. Because Jewish people living outside Israel is not even significant. It's like, it's not even, we have more people coming out of Islamabad or Lahore more than the overseas Jewish community in the world.
So I want to just touch upon this inferiority complex you keep talking about.
It's not inferiority complex, inferior psychology. Complex is just one of the many things.
Okay, but
Inferior psychology is when you limit yourself, your own self, and shrink your own naturally given attributes that God Almighty gave you when you were born. And you lower your scope so low that, if you're not aiming for the target, you're never going to make it to the target, no matter what kind of technique you're going to use. We don't even let our kids aim for the globe. And we shrink them into our household so much that they use all of their potential by God to just do
a career.
Yeah, and not just for their own kids. Not even for their own kids, because of this psychology, their own kids rebel themselves out of their own daddies and mommies.
Look, I often give my own example. We're children of economic migrants, right?
Yeah.
My forefathers, my grandfather first came in this country in the 60s, or 50s rather, and they came here to earn money. And we was built into us: go to school, get good grades; go to college, get good grades; go to university,
So
get
that
a
you
good
can
job,
get that pound.
get a good job, build a good career, and live happily ever after. Nobody gave you that microcosm of living on a bigger scale, thinking globally. It's this for me came at a very later stage, and one of these reasons of doing this podcast is that we need to build our platforms to have a greater global reach.
Yeah, a directory.
Yeah,
A directory of Muslims for Muslims, a blockchain for Muslims. See, America for the Americans is a credo that they can use for the next at least 10 generations. And they're going to develop every American because of this vision. That's just like next year in Jerusalem. Same kind of power. I'm talking to you as a psychologist. Same kind of power, literally the same kind of power. Next year in Jerusalem, in America for the Americans. Same kind of power, different kind of people, different mindset. Okay? So Jewish community inside America does not live up to America for Americans because they know they're for Israel.
yeah.
See the depth and the scope of the power for this one credo next year in Jerusalem.
So what should the Muslim mantra be then? If the Jews were saying
Next
year in Jerusalem,
Muslim mantra. Next year in Jerusalem.
inshallah.
Inshallah, yeah.
Yeah. So this again is all about building that character.
Vision. The what now?
Vision, but from that vision, you're going to build that character that's going to fulfill that vision.
See, no. I asked this rabbi once. He was teaching me political science. I asked him, how are you, I mean, what drives you to develop Israel? He's a rabbi. And he said, I don't know why you Muslims get it wrong every time. I was 20, 18, maybe 19, 20 at that time. And I used to poke a lot of questions into him. He was like, listen to me, man, I don't know, tell me something. Why do you guys get this wrong every single time? It is not the Jews who are actually empowering or strengthening Israel.
Interesting.
And I said, then who? I said, no, hold on. He said, hold on. It is not the Jews who are empowering Israel. It is Israel that is empowering and strengthening the Jews. See, if you have a bigger vision, you need to develop the muscle to achieve the vision. So vision is strengthening you. So if you're going to compete for the Olympics, you'll have to train 1,000,000 times harder than if you're training for the Birmingham Marathon. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So the vision, the purpose, cleanses and develops the traveler towards the purpose.
Right, of course.
That's why I'm saying next year in Jerusalem for all Muslims. Now we need to develop the muscle.
Yeah.
And for that, we need to just these 4 things: financial, political, mental, and moral, in the reverse order.
From a religious perspective, what is the role of tazkiyah in developing the human, especially the Muslim, in order to be able to fulfill these worldly goals?
Flip it. The word is correct, or the perspective is wrong. The word is correct, obviously. But it's not the tazkiyah that I have to do for my own self. I have to make you go to the tazkiyah. 2 billion people go to tazkiyah.
But I have to start with myself first, obviously.
No, not at all. See, if I have to do a tazkiyah for 500 people, it'll naturally do my tazkiyah because people are not going to listen to a word I'm saying if I'm not living up to it. See, the purpose is cleaning me. But if I limit myself to my own tazkiyah and I'm going to spend 50 years on my own self and before I actually say a word to you, I don't know how many generations I'm going to waste, which of course we've done.
We've done.
And by the way, that the religious clergy right now is the reason, and I'm saying it on camera, staring right in the eyes of whoever listening, is the reason why the Muslim youth is not coming into Islam. Because they're saying, after the Seerah that you've learned, after the Quran that you've, put word to word inside your hearts, this is what you have to show for. This is what these things do to you. This is what happens if you know the Quran by heart and you teach the Seerah and your performance is this, then we got to find another solution, buddy.
Yeah, it's true. Unfortunately, we've not given them the right role models, the young
Yeah.
generation.
No, well, the role models are going to come if you have the right perspective. See, this perspective, current definition, is not going to be able to produce any role models. It's singleton. Singleton is not going to do anything.
Absolutely.
Unless we are producing babies who are for 2 billion people worth of community, we're not going to have any role models. I'm telling you, an Olympian is trained for the Olympics from day one. He doesn't just happen to come to the Olympics. He's trained for the Olympics for years and years.
So we need to start telling the babies Jerusalem next year.
Yeah, you're a global sportsman, buddy. You're in the bigger game. Then they're going to require bigger careers, stronger careers, way bigger performances, a lot more money.
What you've said there, I mean, I'm totally in agreement with you but at the same time, there's a lot of people who think that if I want to be religious, I can't have a good career. If I want a good career, I can't be religious.
Yeah. And that's a natural side effect of the current definition of Islam. That's why I'm saying soak this word career into Islam, the Quran and the Seerah, and then make the baby swallow it when he's 1 or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Unless you're soaking in Islam, because someone's going to soak it in so well in whatever he wants to achieve. Big shiny red cars and Ferraris and those big plots and those big
Nothing wrong with that
mansions.
at all. Nothing wrong with that.
I know, but it's going to actually make him divorce Islam because we have isolated the word career.
No.
And hence we see people are feeling guilty just about making money. They're guilty.
I remember I was talking to somebody in Pakistan and they said that my son wants to go to Hifz in the madrasa. And I said to him, no, don't go there. We're going to send you to such a private school or state school because you're not going to earn any money. Madrasa mein jayega to kya kamai karega tu? We're going to have to send you, build a career. So that, tells you, speaks volumes about people's perception about religion, about the people who go to the madrasas and get religious education. That for them, it seems like it's no longer relevant in today's modern secular society.
Hence the parenting issues and the cries and hues coming out of mommies and daddies about what their kids are up to, and they're just not. They've created monsters, And I don't blame the kids because that's a natural reaction to a fractured psychology coming from upstairs. It's like I would not do anything else other than whatever our kids are doing just to create a statement. Because we have nothing to show for when we give Islam to our kids.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I'm better off being a humanitarian. And that's why you see problems like LGBT and, this new age philosophy of, be a good person and that's it. And
the left wing in this country.
Yeah. It's not just this country. It's everywhere in Pakistan.
Mm-hmm. So, in Pakistan as well, kids are questioning their identity as Muslims?
It's not just Muslims. They're questioning the very belief system of Islam, not just their identity. You see a million people club of Pakistan Association of Atheists.
Really?
Yeah. And you think those are the only atheists? No. Every house is all at one. He's just stuck in his own bedroom watching YouTube in the night when everybody's asleep because he's aware that you're not going to be able to answer any of his questions.
Or they're too shy to come out.
Yeah, atheist in
Scared.
isolation. That's what I call him, atheist in isolation. He's never going to say he is, but he is. I was doing a corporate workshop in Lahore, and there were teachers there, and the head of Islamic department of FC College, head of Islamic department, was an atheist.
Really?
Yeah, a bearded Molvi open. He was like, you know what? I'm from deep down, I'm an atheist, man. I just lost the belief. And I'm like, what the hell are you doing teaching Islam? He said, I'm teaching whatever's written in the book, man. I was a Muslim once.
I mean,
it's my job.
In that same respect, you've got sort of Islamic studies teachers in the UK schools who are not Muslim.
Yeah, and hold on to your knickers, as they say in England. RME is coming in England. It is already installed in Scotland. It's coming down English.
What's that, sorry?
RME is all the religions combined into one religion, and they're going to shove it down the throat of our kids in England.
It's happening. It's happening in
Scotland. It is
happening in the UK as well.
Yeah. It's called RME. And of course, every English person knows about this. So a child cannot be a Muslim by the choice of their parents. That's mandatory in Scotland now. That's not far, by the way. I'm in Birmingham.
Scary. But look, you shared some great insights. And these things will not change overnight. As you said, look how long it took the Jewish community to
It didn't
achieve
take that
this.
much. It took 2 generations, by the way. I'm very hopeful because they were, you know how many they were? There were 160,000. I'm talking about those people who actually did the first, what's the word? The survivors.
Made the sacrifices.
Yeah, yeah. The rest of them are all, everywhere else. I'm talking about 2 billion people. I just need 1% of them. If we can get one, forget all the Muslims, just Pakistanis. 250 million. I just need 20,000 overseas Pakistanis to put their kids into this one kitty. And I'm actually offering right now on camera, and I'm going to Leicester on the 17th, right? And I have this little model I'm going to present in Leicester. I was waiting for Leicester. Actually, I was waiting for London, but it's going to come in after Scotland, so it's going to come in its own time. My company's name is Source Code, right? I am willing to take all the masjids on my payroll so that they can just facilitate the programs I have for the kids. All you have to do is make the child stay for an hour more than after Jummah prayer for his teaching and training. And all I need is to connect all the masjids to get all the kids coming in together. That's where the parents are going to come in. Stay for another hour. Mm-hmm. And if school time on Friday, do it on Saturday. And all the masjids who think, oh, you know what, this is something we cannot do, I'll pay you for it. This is not something I'm making money, I'm actually giving money here. So that at least in England, and why I'm doing Leicester, because Leicester is the most densely Muslim populated city in the country. And there are more than 300 masjids there.
They've got a very educational, good network.
Yeah. I've got so much, that's like a potential gold mine for all Muslims. So Leicester, I am offering this right now to all England, all Scotland, that your administrators in masjids, I will pay them literally salary every month if they can do a weekly program for the kids of their own community to come into the masjid and then get all the masjids connected.
Just give me a little flavor of what is that curriculum that you want them to learn.
Yeah, it's Sira. Skill in Arabic, I am going to teach them Arabic myself. Mm-hmm. I have more than 150 teachers training more than 1,000 classes every day in source code. More than 1,200 classes happen every day in source code. Mm-hmm. I have the faculty, and I've got a million more teachers coming up because of the advertisement that we do in the Middle Eastern countries. I have teachers from Syria, from Yemen, from Iraq, from Saudi Arabia, a lot more in Saudi Arabia, Pakistani teachers who are trained into Arabic. So many. I'm going to teach them Arabic and Sira and activities which are at community level so that they can come into a sense of community. Competitions where tasks and projects are going to be given to the child inside the masjid for the neighborhood only. And once they've done that, level 2 would be for the city. Level 3, all England. And level 4, globally. So kids from Melbourne will be coming to London for the conferences every once in 3 months. Mm-hmm. So they can present, they can connect with each other, and from entrepreneurial skills of how to actually establish himself to religious skills of how to actually understand his Prophet ﷺ and understand how to use everybody in the community to come together in terms of moral, mental, political, and financial capital. These 4 capitals have to be trained as a curriculum over 3 to 4 years. If a 7-year-old comes in by age 15, he better be equipped with the right knowledge structures and the skills. 2 or 3 basic skills where he actually can establish himself as a resume that people can look up to. And you know what? He doesn't really need a resume for himself. His resume is how many people are connected with him. And it's my job, people like me who have a platform, where I can give you Melbourne, I can give you New York, I can give you Houston, because they're all connected in my platforms.
MashaAllah.
All I have to do is put our Muslim kids inside the masjid. So the masjid can become a central role or a university, for that matter, in the global awakening of every child coming into these 4 capitals. That's all. I mean, do it for your own kids. Don't do it for me. And everyone wants their kids to have more money. This is one of my pillars. more influence and more credibility, political capital is my pillar. More IQ, mental capital is my pillar. So it's a win-win even if you're a capitalistic, selfish, self-centered parent.
But okay, even if you're unable to get into these, infiltrate into these educational networks, why can't you just create this academy online? So
I have an academy online.
Okay.
I have 18 faculties running online.
Okay.
But people think I'm doing it for the money there. It's okay. If you want to subscribe for that, it's come to your own home. It's a school in your own home for all homeschoolers. You can.
Does that cater for full-time education?
Yeah, it does. It caters to actually way more than that. Way more subjects than what England or America or any country is going to offer, because we offer from Arabic to Islamic foundation courses, going into specialization of Seerah and the Quran, from mathematics to physics to chemistry, biology, you name it. Everything is on, because I have a school, that's what I'm an educationist. But this is an offer so that we can train our kids into a community, because my source code, my students are already in a community. That's what I train them on. And there are more than 82 countries worth of students coming in. But they're in single isolated houses. I need England, because you guys are 3 generations. You Pakistanis in England are older than King Charles. He was born when the Pakistanis were already here. So in America, that's not the case.
I myself am a 3rd generation.
There you go. In Australia, they don't even speak English. I had to go to Australia. They said, "Angrezi nahi aati, Urdu mein baat kare." Abhi bhi to aaye.
Really?
That's the 1st generation there, right? In other than Sydney, because Sydney is the only city with 2nd generation immigrants. Melbourne, they just came in. I mean, it's so young. As 30 and 40-year-old immigrants are there, Pakistanis. America, 2nd generation. Denmark, Scandinavia, 2nd generation. Only in England, it's 4th generation Pakistanis. We were here way before Pakistan. Okay? So we speak the language, we know the system, we're inside the blood, we're going through all the veins of England. So we have the right potential here. In America, we do not. Canada, can't even think about it. We're too less in number. France, Germany, no, we don't have the numbers. Spain, don't have the numbers. Australia can't even do the math in this one. They're too new. So only England has the potential. Where all I need is 500-600 masjids, where kids are going to sit down together, act like a group, and step 3, they'll be connected to masjids in Houston and in Melbourne and in Milwaukee and in Toronto and in Vancouver. So that all of a sudden your babies will be global celebrities. See, I'm speaking the language of the current definitions right now. Your babies will be global celebrities. People will listen to them. They will have 20 points higher in the IQ because of this global interface. They will be writing articles, books, they will be published, they will have business networks, they will launch a product. Millions of people will already be the customer of that product. So they're millionaires right on the offset. Everything is set up. All I need is parents to send their kids to the masjids. That's it.
MashaAllah.
Only if masjids hold my hand, we'll administer, man. It's not zero cost. I mean, I'm paying them. And that's not something I'm doing it for source code, okay? I'm not charging any money for it. If you want to go into source code and get a full-time tuition done for my school, the source code, www.sourcecode.academy. Go there, find out that is a full-time school. This is a developmental community. I cannot do it online. A website is not going to create a skill for bringing everybody together into performance, right?
Especially in their own localities.
Yeah, I cannot. My website is still a website. Leicester is an actual city. London is an actual city. Edinburgh is an actual city.
Are you able to do that in Pakistan, though? Localities?
In Pakistan, a masjid is a barrack. You cannot enter a masjid unless you're from the same firqa. Okay? And if you are going to make a lesson or a lecture inside a masjid, they're not going to let you unless they approve it according to the firqa, and only a Jummah sermon is going to happen. No one can say a word other than the Jummah prayer, and that to that guy who actually is appointed by that firqa. Pakistan, a masjid is a barrack of a firqa. England, it's not the case. Everybody knows it. Masjids, you guys treat it a little bit, not too much, not at all close to what I want it to be. But anybody can go into a masjid and have a little bit of a ceremony there. Kids are going to come in together. And by the way, English community has a lot more hole in the English masjid. Pakistani community has zero hold on the Pakistani masjid. It is a totally different department in the government, a ministry there. They actually make sure everyone's pleased, every firqa is pleased, because it's going to become a big problem. It's a lot of red tape around this. England, there is no such thing. So, and every Muslim wants their kids to go to the masjids. Everyone. That's like a dream child. He goes to the masjid and studies and gets connected to people, talks about, he gives lectures. Your 12, 13-year-olds should be giving lectures and sermons inside in the masjids where everyone's listening. And if you're speaking in Leicester, some kids in Melbourne are listening. Imagine that. This is so easy. It is right there. And if they're not going to do it in the masjid, I swear to God, they'll be doing it in their own YouTube channels, talking about dance and movies and video games and whatnot. They're going to do it because that's what they're doing right now.
Yeah.
All I want them to do it in their masjid, talking about seerah, talking about politics, talking about making money, talking about raising their IQ, physics and mathematics, talking about equations, training other kids. Imagine what you're going to get in the day of judgment if we can come together like this.
I just sense, I can feel that passion, and that shows a man on a mission.
Inshallah.
May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give you more time, energy and barakah in what you are doing. And really is, amazing work that you are doing. And inshallah, we hope we can obviously continue this conversation offline and see how we can, plug into that vision as well.
I need help from everybody, especially people in your position where you can have influence over. Because, as I said before, and I'm not talking about just words here. I'm actually offering money here, right? So that people would know that, I'm putting money where my mouth is. Mm-hmm. If a masjid cannot has any financial problems, because it doesn't make any money to get kids together. I am willing to put that masjid on my payroll so that people would know that Muslims have to take the first step.
MashaAllah.
And I'm talking.
And that's an offer that people cannot refuse.
Yeah, so that people, the shaitan is going to put the bus aside. No, maybe he's trying to, get some money out of it. No, I'm actually paying the money for it. I need 50,000 Muslim kids, especially teenagers, connected together. Because if they put 10 years in, then we are next year in Jerusalem right away.
Game changer. That's going to be a game changer.
We are in Jerusalem.
Inshallah. It's been a great honor and pleasure to host you. And inshallah, I'm sure there's going to be one of many conversations to come in the future.
Oh, inshallah. Anytime.
Jazakallah.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me. Barakallah.